Hey everybody, what is going on? It's Adam Vanderhoof here from GAWDA TV. Today, we have a show lined up that I really think is going to connect with a lot of GAWDA members about the trials and tribulations of working in a family business. We speak with people who are poised to take over the family's business, people who have transitioned out of their family business, and even people who work in a family business but aren't part of the family. You do not want to miss it. But first, GAWDA Spring Management Conference is less than 2 months away. Registration for the event has already surpassed 300 people. Early bird registration for the event ends on April 9th, so make sure to register today by clicking the link in the description and check out the SMC article in this issue of The Connection and in future issues for updates on attendance numbers and about the show. All of that and more right after a word from today's sponsor, Weldcoa. Joining us first to talk about this year's Spring Management Conference is 2021 GAWDA President Abydee Butler. Abydee, thank you for being part of the show today and welcome back.
Thank you. Very excited to be doing the session today. Thanks for having me.
What are you most excited about for this year's SMC that you can't wait for other GAWDA members to experience?
I'm most excited to just get back together with our industry friends. I think the industry is really looking to GAWDA to do it and do it right. We are the first meeting to reconvene for 2021 out of 2020. So I think a lot of eyes are on us to have a successful meeting and have a safe meeting and a content-rich meeting, and all of those things will be delivered. So I'm really looking forward to seeing our industry friends getting back together and just keeping back on track with our Eyes Up theme for 21.
Why do you feel that this year's SMC will be a can't-miss conference for other GAWDA distributors to attend?
This SMC is definitely going to be a can't miss event, specifically our education tracks. We took the format that we were going to deliver in Austin and we actually expanded it. We expanded an additional track. We have 5 tracks, one on family business, one on safety and operations, one on HR and leadership, one on technology, and one on sales and marketing. And in each one of those 5 tracks, there are 3 sessions. So any member company actually has to send 5 delegates in order to just cover all the content alone. So we added that 5th track for more content, for more take-home value. And we also added the 5th track to spread out and allow better social distancing within the room sizes. So there'll be intimate sessions. They're all volunteer speakers. We have some amazing presenters on the lineup. Highly encourage folks to go to that SMC website on the GAWDA website to check out all the content. We have Bill Proctor, we have Colleen Kohler, we have Robert Anders, Will Roberts, Ryan Craven. It's a great lineup, and you'll see a lot of familiar faces sharing stories about their businesses.
Some GAWDA members have communicated that they are still nervous to travel or meet. Can you put their minds at ease regarding the safety precautions taken to make this event safe?
Absolutely. This is going to be a very wellness and safety centric meeting. As I mentioned earlier, the industry has all eyes on GAWDA for how we're going to do this meeting and how we're going to do it well, being that we're the first one on the schedule for the 2021 lineup. So GAWDA headquarters has put together a wonderful document called Putting Your Safety First, Know Before You Go. And that document lives on the SMC page of the GAWDA website. Definitely want to make sure to check that out. The biggest thing that I could share for any members who are hesitant about going is if it's not safe for you to travel, please don't, please don't come. It's a personal choice. And as the members who are able to travel and are willing to travel choose to come and show up, we're going to be doing lots of things. The property is very on board with hand sanitizer stations, with spaced walkways, multiple restrooms, lots of sanitation efforts. Masks and face coverings will be required as they are within the state guidelines. So at the time of the meeting, whatever the state and city guidelines are, that's what we will be following. Right now, they must be worn at all times during all GAWDA functions. There's also a safety packet that's going to be distributed that has masks and sanitizers and wipes all available at registration. And then the Marriott brand is just a joy to work with, and they're really on top of all of the sanitation. Housekeeping services are only available on request, so no one's going to be entering your hotel room unless you specifically would choose. There are plexiglass barriers. There's going to be food service stations and passed foods and cocktails as opposed to areas of congregation. The contact booth is going to be very well spaced out. Actually, it might be comically spaced out with big spaces between booths, one-way aisleways for walkways. We're really taking the guidelines quite seriously. So we anticipate a very safe environment for all attendees.
Thanks, Abydee. Have a great day.
Thank you. Happy to see everyone May 24th through May 26th in Nashville.
Being active for more than 70 years, always following the original mission. Wherever gas is the integral part and provides energy for everyday life, there will be the technological and productive commitment from Cavagna Group.
Today's member news segment is brought to you by MPT Industries, Advanced True Synthetic Lubricants and Thread Sealants. On behalf of everybody at GAWDA and GAWDA Media, we would like to extend our condolences to the friends and family of Ron Pierce, who passed away on March 18th. In other member news, application deadline for GAWDA Scholarship Program is April 15th. Red Ball Oxygen honors employees for work during winter weather emergencies. Noble Gas Solutions opens new Glens Falls facility. Messer celebrates its 2-year anniversary at Messer Americas. Butler Gas announces new hours of operation at its new Brighton facility, promotion of John Proana to sales manager. Dale Oxygen will open its 4th branch location in Somerset, Pennsylvania. Lincoln Electric was named as one of the world's most ethical companies for the 4th consecutive year. Norton St. Gobain was recognized as one of the top 100 most innovative companies in the world for the 10th consecutive year. FIBA Technologies refurbished Kentucky site, ready for service. If you have member news that you'd like to see in the GAWDA Connection or a future episode of GAWDA TV, click the link in the description. And now we welcome to the show GAWDA board member and COO of Earlbeck Gases Technologies, Allison Earlbeck. Allison, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Adam.
You are a 3rd-generation family member to work at Earlbeck Gases and Technologies. How do you feel that growing up in and around the business prepared you to assume a leadership role in the company?
So my beginnings here started out very similar to almost every other person that grew up in our industry, which is I was painting cylinders, filing invoices, pretty much filling in any place that we needed a set of hands. So with that, I did actually get a chance to get acclimated with each department in our company. So I've spent a little bit of time in every role that we have here, mostly just cross-training, getting a chance to really understand how it all comes together. And with that, it really did help me prepare for the role that I'm in currently. So how I kind of refer to myself right now is I consider myself to be the translator amongst all the departments that we have here. And because I have had a chance to spend time working in each department, I understand enough to be able to help everybody talk about their needs and how we can get that to translate against each department. So it was a little bit of a happy accident, but it worked out really nicely that I was able to spend a little bit of time with everything here.
On the other hand, having been around the business, you must have known many of the employees when you were a kid as you grew up. How do you deal with those relationships becoming professional relationships when you joined the business?
So it was definitely a little bit tough at times on both sides. So The people that I work along here with, a lot of them I have known since I was a kid. So coming into a professional role, we always kind of had to play this game where, you know, they knew that there was definitely a possibility that at some point, you know, I might be sitting in the CEO seat, so I might have the opportunity to be their boss. But at the same time, I was young, I was coming into a professional role, and I also needed mentoring as well. So I had to have a couple conversations with our team to let them know that I needed that feedback and not to feel uncomfortable with giving it to me just because they felt like maybe they had to be careful of the dynamic. Once we were able to have that candid conversation where I was just letting them know, like, you know, I'm not going to hold anything against you. I need to know when I'm not doing well. I need to know where I need to grow. Then it really helped make things a lot smoother. So the good news that, you know, is that everybody has really kind of jumped on board and they want to see this business go to the next generation. So they have really helped mentor me just as much as my dad has. So I've gotten really fortunate to have a team that's been really supportive about seeing this business go to the next generation.
In a recent member profile for Welding and Gases Today, you said, as a family-owned company, we are focused on a smooth transition in our leadership. We spend time on training and ensuring that we have the proper procedures in place. Can you discuss that process?
Yeah, absolutely. So we realized that not only do we have the opportunity to take things to the next generation as far as our leadership team is concerned, we have a lot of other people in our organization that have been here for their entire careers. And so they have so much tribal knowledge that helps make this company successful. However, as they start to retire, we realized that we needed to start to build a succession plan for them in their roles as well. So we started to bring in newer team members to cross-train, and we are big proponents of having very long runways. So making sure that people have more than just a couple months working alongside somebody to try to absorb all the knowledge that that person has gotten, you know, within their decades of experience working in the industry. So beyond just the typical mentoring, we also realized that we had to document things and really put them on paper and create a process so that regardless of the people or that were sitting in those seats, we were able to kind of recreate the same success that we've had previously. So we've really had an eye about putting things onto paper and make sure that things are following a process so that we can continue to grow and scale up and have new people come into the company and get acclimated pretty quickly into how we are successful here.
This year, you joined the GAWDA Board of Directors. Your father was also a board member in the association. Does it mean anything extra to you that joining the board, knowing you're following in his footsteps?
Definitely, yes. So my dad definitely leaves a very amazing legacy behind as he starts to look at retirement. And I know that he's had a pretty large impact on a lot of people in our industry, not just the people in our own company. He's been an incredible mentor. And I also can say that I've had a lot of other people that I've gotten to get to know that are also previous GAWDA board members that have also taken me under their wings and really mentored me as well. So I see it as a really big role that I am super excited that I get a chance to try to grow into and try to bring some honor to the GAWDA board and try to fulfill that.
Allison, thanks so much for being part of GAWDA TV. Have a great day.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it.
It is important to keep your equipment running. Cryovation's thecryoshop.com has all the parts you need on the shelf to keep your plant going. Valves, vaporizers, pump parts, and more. Visit www.thecryoshop.com.
Joining us now is 1994 to 1995 GAWDA President Randy Squibb. Randy, thanks for being part of the show today. How are you?
Well, thank you, Adam. Thank you for asking me to be with you today. It's an honor and a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to visiting with our GAWDA members.
You have gotten to experience working in a family business from two different perspectives. You did it yourself, and also working as a consultant. What would you say is the most important peril of wisdom you can share about working in a family business?
Well, I don't know about the peril of wisdom, but I will say, Adam, that I think the most important thing, particularly when the younger generation is coming into the business, is you need to know why you're coming in the business. And I know that sounds funny, but what I mean by that is if the only reason that you're going into the family business is because you can't find a job someplace else, or you can make more money working for mommy or daddy, then that's the wrong reason to come into the business. If you were like so many of our viewers, started off in the family business, working in the warehouse, painting cylinders, doing all those things, you have a passion for the business, and that's what you really want to do, then that's the reason to come into the business. If you come into the business for one of those other things that we talked about, it's going to haunt you down the road, and it's not going to be a very good experience for you, your customers, and your stakeholders.
You have talked at length about how working in a family business can be the most rewarding experience in the world, or the biggest disaster. When things go wrong, what would you say is typically the biggest reason why?
It's probably because we, and I mean both generations, when I say we, I'm talking about the younger generation and the senior generation, don't recognize what our roles are coming into the business. And what I mean by that is, my dad used to say, my dad worked for my grandfather. So I was very fortunate. I was able to learn from the things that he experienced during his business career. And he used to say he would get in trouble at home for what he did at work, and he would get in trouble at work for what he did at home. You have to recognize what those roles are going in. The most important thing that I try to stress to people today is that you were father, son, father, daughter, mother, son, mother, daughter, brother, sister, long before you were boss employee. But what can happen if you don't recognize what those roles are going in, you cross over and you do get in trouble because you don't recognize the fact that, you know, am I talking to you as your dad, or am I talking to you as your employee? We had a very, very hard and fast rule laid down by our CEO during my time in the family business. And that was that when we got together for birthday parties, Christmas, Thanksgiving, we were not allowed to talk about the family business. That was a subject that was off limits. And when I say CEO, Adam, I'm not talking about Chief Executive Officer. I'm talking about the Chief Emotional Officer, which in most cases is mama. And if mama lays down the rule that you're not supposed to talk about the family business, you don't want to cross that CEO. And so we really did. We adhered to that for 30 years. It was off limits. And again, the most important thing is you were related long before you were boss employee, and always keep that in mind as you continue to be involved in the business.
You have consulted with businesses about transitioning the family business to the next generation. Can you explain what an effective and healthy transition process should look like?
You know, that's probably the most favorite thing that I enjoy doing when I go in and I get to sit down with business owners and the younger generation, is to talk about transition. It's the most important part of a family business. If you want your business to continue, you have to take the time to transition the business. Our transition, Adam, was over a 15-year period of time. And I know that doesn't happen very often, but again, I was so fortunate to work with my father, but it truly was a 15-year process that was started by a gentleman by the name of Dr. Danco, who many of our viewers will remember, who worked with NWSA back in the early 70s. And transition is not something that you can just go in and, as the founder of the business, call everybody in and say, okay, mom and I have decided that we're going to transition the business to you and your sister, and we're going to do this effective in 30 days. It doesn't work that way. There are far too many stakeholders that you have to make sure they're comfortable with the transition as well. You've got so many different folks involved, from your customers to your associates. And this is a scary time for them too, Adam, because they don't know. Hopefully you're one of those younger generation folks that have been around for a long time, and you came into the business at an early age, and you kind of showed what your net worth was early on. But one of the things that and it sounds a little bit morbid, but it's true. Dr. Danco used to say, don't worry if you don't want to transition your business. It will be done for you 5 cars back from the black limousine on the way back from your funeral by your lawyer, your banker, your CPA. That's not a very good transition. The transitions are the best ones are those that take place over a long period of time. And again, that's what ours was. And it was great. And it's something that I'm very, very proud of.
Thanks, Randy, for joining. I hope to connect again soon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Chart's new Orca VHP delivery system provides the capability to fill tanks operating at pressures up to 500 psig, eliminating the need for costly and time-consuming tank blowdowns. Coupled with our existing automated fill system, this new pump technology allows faster delivery times without interrupting ongoing facility operations. These advantages lead to greater flexibility in scheduling and more deliveries per day.
We'd now like to welcome to the show Huber Supply Company President Rodney Huber. Rodney, I appreciate you being with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Your company worked with Advance Iowa Family Business Forum during the transition to become president. Can you explain what that process was like?
Yeah, so we had one of our large customers actually recommended us for this group. It's a new group to the University of Northern Iowa, and they're primarily focused on transition planning for businesses. It's kind of another option of keeping family businesses going in the state of Iowa. And so we started to attend forums and kind of question and answer periods and things like that. Just to kind of get, us thinking about the future. There's different topics about different things related to family businesses. And then we decided that, this was a good organization. They had some people that knew what they were doing, and decided to enlist their help in our transition process. My parents are, pretty young. They're young yet, but everything that we had heard, one of the big horror stories or the things from these forums that we picked up on is that it's never too early to start the process. So we decided to enlist their help, and they gave us a one-on-one advisor and have kind of held our hand through the process.
You said that it was important to name the eventual successor and make sure that roles were clearly defined in our company as we move forward. How long was the transition plan in place before eventual transition?
Well, I wouldn't say that it's even done yet. It's going to be a process, or it's going to evolve over time as my parents maybe start to step back more and more. But we do things pretty quickly when we make up our minds on something. Our family's pretty decisive. So we talked about it. Like I said, we were attending these forums and these talks and things like that. So we talk through different situations, and with the help of our advisor, kind of put together a plan of this is how we kind of wanted it to look like. And then we implemented it pretty fast, told our employees that this is kind of what it was going to be like, unveiled a new org chart, things like that, go along with this process. We haven't really talked about, things like when my parents are going to step out of the business or anything like that. And I don't think that's something that we need to do. I think that, like I said, that's going to evolve and change over time. And, but we have things ready to go for when that process happens.
You are the fourth generation to run the business. What does that family legacy mean to you as you have assumed the role of president?
Well, I think, myself and my brother and sister, we all want to keep the core values of what the company stands for. We're huge on service. I mean, that's how we separate ourselves in our market. And, there's things that are going to change over time, technology and things like that. But we want to keep those core philosophies of what my great grandfather instilled in the business, and my grandfather and my dad, and now us. So, we really treat our employees like family. We want to keep that tight knit feel to the company, and just continue to grow.
Many GAWDA members are family-owned businesses and are approaching or in the midst of a transition from one generation to the next. What are the biggest pieces of advice you can offer those companies based on your experience?
Well, like I said, kind of previous, it's never too early to start. At least start thinking about it and having conversations about it. I think it's important for family to understand what their role will maybe look like in the future, even if it's not something that's concrete. To have a sense of this is where I'm going to be, because nobody likes the unknown. And especially when it's a family dynamic, luckily for us, it's just me, my brother, and my sister. But there's going to be some families out there that are dealing with multiple families, and I think that you can head off a lot of conflict. Maybe there's sometimes rivalries in family, where you kind of get where you get a little bit of competition or competitive nature in people, and I think you can head off some of that stuff by saying, this is where we're going, this is kind of what the plan is in place, is what your role we want to grow you into, and I think it takes away some of that conflict.
Gas distributors, tank repair shops, cryogenic techs. Live the Equigas experience and find out for yourself. Send us a picture and we'll help you identify what you really need. We have the equipment you need with the service you deserve. Make your life easier. Give us a call today. We answer the phone and ship the same day.
Joining us now is GAWDA's first Vice President and CEO of Holston Gases, Robert Anders. Robert, thanks for joining GAWDA TV.
Thank you, Adam. Glad to do it.
You're giving a presentation at the Spring Management Conference entitled Running a Family Business When You're Not in the Family. Can you give a brief overview of some of the important themes you'll be discussing in that presentation?
When Abydee asked me to do this subject, I thought about it for a minute and I said, sure. And I did it for a couple of reasons. One is it's really not that unusual a management structure in our industry right now. In fact, the next 3 GAWDA presidents are all non-family members working in a family business and having key roles in those businesses. And the second reason I said yes is you just don't say no to Abydee. That's not real easy to do. So what I'm going to touch on in that presentation is just really all the situations are different. Every situation out there is a little different. So I'm just going to use the Holston Gases story as the backdrop. We've had this management structure for about 30 years now, and it's worked fairly well. And so I want to also talk about why are some reasons why owners would look outside of the family to bring management talent in. And then also talk about some things from successes and the failures, not necessarily failures, but scar tissues we've had. Just what are some responsibilities for the non-family member, the outsider coming in, to make that relationship work? What do they need to do? What are some keys? And what are some keys that the owner needs to do to make sure that that relationship is a success? And then, I really hope that this is more of a dialogue than a presentation. Excuse me. And that, we have some good Q&A in there, because I think there's a lot of ways this thing can go down different paths. So I'm excited about it.
Holston has more than 400 employees across 35 branches. How do you feel the tenets and philosophies of a family business permeate through an organization that large?
Well, I think family-owned businesses they have a culture. Family-owned businesses make their living where they live. And the personal reputation of the owners is tied to the business reputation. So I think what happens is with family-owned businesses, they get much more focused on their employees. They get much more focused on their customers, and then the health and the well-being of the cities and towns that they're in. So if you have that culture, and you can, and we strive very hard to have that culture, and it can permeate into your employees, then that culture can be mobile. It doesn't have to stay in the hometown where it was started. If that culture is real and it's ingrained, then it can be duplicated as you expand and move into other cities.
This year's GAWDA SMC is the first time GAWDA members have had the opportunity to get together since the 2019 convention. What are you most excited about for this year's SMC?
Well, I think the key point was get together, just getting a chance to reconnect with friends. And this organization is a great community, and some of my best friends are in this organization. I haven't seen them face to face in a while, so I'm excited about doing that. I'm excited about my home state hosting the SMC. I love Nashville. We're excited about showing off the Tennessee, and just hope everybody will come and have a great time.
Robert, thanks so much for joining GAWDA TV. Have a great day.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you to everybody who joined us today. We cannot wait to be back with you in person at this year's SMC. Once again, to register for this show, click the link in the description. Also, early bird registration ends on April 9th, so make sure to register today. We will be back on April 15th when our topic is using GAWDA's ITR report for your company's strategic planning. We will also have more great SMC content. You do not want to miss it. Thanks again for watching. I'm Adam Vanderhoof.